But if you don't have something like that, you're, can I say it? Screwed.
SOL.
Yeah.
Up an insanitary tributary without adequate means of propulsion.
That is correct.
There you go.
Help me with HIPAA. Let's get it right. Protect your patients. Day and night. Donna and David, the experts on your side. Help me with HIPAA. Let's get it right.
Donna, welcome to the Hackers Playground.
Yeah. It's where you hang out with your friends.
Yeah, I know, really. So today we're going to cover the Huntress 2025 Cyber Threat Report, and it's all about threats targeting the healthcare sector. And it does go into other sectors, but for the sake of our conversation, we want to look at how that affects the healthcare sector and how healthcare is doing compared to the other ones. So we'll cover that, but I will give you a little hint that 38% of all the incidents in 2024 covered two main industries. Believe it or not, healthcare didn't win this one. The number one industry, just by a little bit more, was education in 2024.
Oh, yeah.
But guess what number two?
Healthcare.
Healthcare. It sure was.
And totally different attack surfaces, really, when you think about it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and we're going to break all that down. We're going to look at the attack surfaces, you know, what's happening, how they're getting in, what tools they're using, and we'll break some of this stuff down because some of it I don't think everybody's going to understand. So we want to kind of, you know, peel some of this stuff back and give you a little bit of breakdown of what it is, because some of it's like, I don't know what that means.
Awesome. I can't wait.
All righty, let's dive right in. So, as mentioned, the 38% is education and healthcare, and you know the thing about it, the first thing it points out, and this is something we talk about all the time, is that size no longer matters, and it hasn't for a long time. But you and I have talked about this time and time again. The practices that are small, that still have that mentality that I have nothing, I'm too small, I won't be targeted, I'm going to fly under the radar because I literally have, you know, one doctor and I'm small practice and I only have 1,000 patients. None of that matters. And this report makes it absolutely clear that none of that matters.
Mm-mm. They don't go check you out before they attack. There are targeted attacks. But often, with what's happening in most of these, they find you another way. They don't go to the front door and peer in and see what cool stuff you have.
Yeah. I mean, I think the thought process is that they're not necessarily targeted. So people aren't coming after me. They're probably right. They're not coming after you specifically, but what they're doing is they're just throwing this huge net out there and you're swimming into it. And so you're basically saying, I'm not going to ever get caught up in a net.
You are Charlie the Tuna.
Yeah. When you and I know that's probably not the way to look at it. Chances are you're going to get caught up in a net. You know, it's not a matter of if, but when. So when you're in the net or you see the net coming, hopefully you'll see it coming. What are you going to do?
But that's the whole part, is to understand that and just go ahead and deal with it instead of ignoring it. That's all we're saying.
Well, we'll answer the question too that sometimes gets asked, which is, well, why are they targeting us? Why are they targeting healthcare? It's the same answer that we've always been given, which is the fact that your data is more valuable. And there's also a level of urgency that you have when you can't get to your data. Like if I can't get to my data, it's not great, but I don't have people's lives on the line.
Yeah.
So,
and now, but if when they're looking at like you and they realize you're an MSP though, that does bring a whole different the same type of thing that you probably support companies that have an urgency that you need to have. But again, your urgency is not well. I guess it could be if they knew you were healthcare, but how?
But nobody knows that because we don't
Nobody
talk
knows
about that.
No.
Shh. I don't know what MSP this is you speak of.
Yeah. Lead on.
So this is. I had a conversation the other day. We were talking about marketing, and this marketing person is like, "You need to put pictures and videos of you and your team out on social media and let everybody know all this stuff." And I'm like, "Yeah, but I don't think you quite grasp the fact that the more I put out there, the more that can be used to target not just me, but my clients. Because now my clients can, the bad guys can then say, Johnny works for Security First IT. And oh, by the way, here's a testimonial from XYZ Medical Group. So let me call XYZ Medical Group and act like I'm Johnny from Security First. I don't want that to happen. And so I don't put any of this information out there. From a marketing standpoint, I get it. It's terrible. But I just can't. I can't do it.
It's what we do. It makes things different. We don't hang out on Facebook and, share things and get out there and yell, "Hey, look, I'm on vacation," which drives me nuts. But I take a different approach to everything on the internet that most people do because of what we see. I guess that doesn't help. But for those who the report calls it the size fallacy, is that it? Yeah. And we're tiny companies and we're worried. And for those who have much more valuable data than we do, for me, it's more a reputational issue than actual data that I have. I have some, but it's not the kind of data that I, would need to pay for. There's very little, my business data, not like a medical practice, not like, any kind of diagnostic lab where you literally have to get to that data to save lives. And it's a very different scenario.
Well, one of the quotes in the report, which I think is very telling, is once reserved for targeting large corporations, sophisticated attack methods were used against healthcare organizations of all sizes. That's a huge difference because we haven't seen sophisticated attacks happening to all sizes up until the last 3 years. I don't know. What else happened around that time frame?
I don't know. We learned all kinds of new words.
Yeah, or at least the 2-letter words like A and I. So it's going to make things a lot easier. And that also kind of goes into what our largest, believe it or not, the top threat vector within healthcare, and this is something we have to kind of explore a little bit, is called script-based exploits.
And that is because of all of our new words.
Yeah.
Because you just tell AI to write a script to do something. You don't have to truly understand it. You just go see if it does it and keep working on it till it does it. And it will keep fixing it. It will actually apologize for its failures and then keep fixing it. So the good news is, for those of us who use it in a good way, but it does the same for the people who want it in a malicious way.
Yeah.
And it's not good.
Let's talk about what scripting is for a minute, because in the healthcare world, if I tell you that I'm going to write a script, that means something very different than it does in the IT world.
Yes, very much. Yeah. How do you really, there's the script that requires me to go and get medication. And then That's not what we're talking about.
No.
Yeah. So how do you define script? Scripts are not like a programming language, but they are a programming language. It's a programming language for steps in a process.
Right. I like to explain it like you're giving the computer like a to-do list.
Yeah.
And where it's different, the reason why we love using scripts is that if you were to tell somebody to go do this to-do list on a computer, here's the 5 things I want you to do. Check email, draft another email, send it to somebody, whatever. All those are individual things that have to be done. But with scripting, you can say, go and do this entire list and then come back when you're done. And so it can go out and it can do multiple actions all at one time. And this is why things happen so fast when you have a compromise in your network. And the reason why you and I say that 1 minute is equal to 1 year, because if I can get that script to run, then it's all happening just in seconds or milliseconds, and it's doing all this stuff. So, it can take all these instructions for the computer, and it can do them all at one time.
And that gets back to you want your computer to be fast. That's the upside. The downside is we can also give it a to-do list of not good things, and it's still fast.
Yeah. So some scripts can do things, for example, open up a back door so I can come back later. That would be, a lot of steps that can make that happen. Or how about quietly copy some files and send them over to me or upload them to this cloud service? That can happen. So that's the thing to look at. And there's different scripting platforms. You got things like PowerShell, which is on every Windows computer. So that's the problem with that is that it's there. You're using the living off the land stuff that's already there in the system against itself because it's already in there. Nobody has to install it. You got, VB scripting. So that's another way to script out things. And some of this lives within our everyday tools like Word and Excel and email attachments and all this stuff that we're already doing and using.
Yeah, well, and a lot of times, when you're in some cases happy that an application or a website or something is aware of your settings so that you don't have to know them, it knows. And a lot of times it's because it's running these scripts in the background to go out and learn things about you and take care of filling things in. And you've got JavaScript, there are so many different ways that these to-do lists can run within a browser, particularly where most of the time it starts in a browser. And if it can get the browser to do something, then the browser can hand something down to the computer.
Yeah. And a lot of things we do within IT involve scripting. When we onboard a new client, we're running scripts in the back end to install software. We're running scripts to uninstall software. We're running scripts to pull information. All this stuff is happening with scripting. And so it's a big thing. Now, from an IT standpoint, how do you know what scripting is good and what's malicious? Do you even know what scripts are running or that they're running?
Most people don't. Most people have no idea. No. I have to go, did a script just do that? Or what? How did it do that? Go dig around and look. But I don't know a lot of times how someone that doesn't even understand how they work could know that's what's happening.
Right. Yeah.
I'm going to go with no.
But that's
to answer the question.
There's tools out there you can use. Like we manage, monitor, and block stuff like that. And of course we have to use behavioral analytics and of course sprinkle in a little bit of AI enablement, but trying to figure out, is it malicious or is it acting like it's malicious? Is it trying to do something that would be considered malicious and then it blocks it? But if you don't have something like that, you're, can I say it? Screwed.
SOL.
Yeah.
Up an insanitary tributary without adequate means of propulsion.
That is correct.
There you go. So it is by far the scariest part is how quickly they can be built now to do very complex things, which gets to that sophistication that, your basic entry level hackers didn't have access to before. They couldn't have thrown those things together like they're able to now. And to take it and just grab enough of what they want, because remember that it's its own economy now, where you have all the different levels of businesses that, well, we're just out there attacking computers so we can get control of them and get enough information that then we can sell access to those, and then they tell two people, and that is what's happening. Every layer is going to try to do a little bit more, unless you hit the one you're lucky enough to hit the ultimate, malicious actor, I think is what we're supposed to say. Anyway, bad actors.
Yeah.
But how many different kinds of scripts do we need to worry about, David?
Oh, gosh. Countless. I mean, really.
Yeah, exactly. And it can launch all those things that are the nasty behind the scenes. The info stealers. First explain those.
Yeah, so the info stealers are actually the next category down. So the category of the biggest top vector threat is the script-based exploits. The next one down from that is info stealers. And so these are things that come into your computer, usually it's through phishing emails or malicious ads, which, by the way, is called malvertising.
Because of course.
It can also come through things like bundled in cracked software. We've seen that before. Supply chain software has a payload in it, or somebody goes out on the internet. I mean, I used to do this when I was a kid. Kid meaning 20-somethings. And it's like this video game that I'm playing has this cool, skin I can download for the characters or whatever, not realizing that it's actually got a bunch of malicious crap, piled into that payload. So that's another reason why don't let your kids play on your business machines.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people get it like, oh, I need a driver for this printer. And
gosh, that's a good one.
The driver, you need to go to the manufacturer's website and search for the driver. Do not just Google it. You'll end up, the actual one you should have is probably maybe not even making the first page. You know what I mean?
That used to be a major issue with the drivers. Even nowadays, we're seeing things like if you went out, and I don't know if this specific one's out there, but it probably is. But if you went out and said, I need to download Chrome browser, if you just, search, I won't say Google because you might use something else, but if you just search for Chrome browser, you'll probably find one that is a, version that has malware in it. And you think you're downloading the official Chrome browser and you're not. And I see that with a lot of other different software. Oh,
yeah. So you got to be careful just searching for it. And then, the first thing that pops up is not necessarily the thing you need.
No.
Often not.
So your info stealers, though, they're sitting there. They're quietly, exfiltrating all this sensitive data. That's before the ransomware even begins. And we talk about this where when you see the ransomware bomb go off, the damage was done way before that. Like they set it off going out the door, not coming in the door.
Yeah. Yeah, because, and I don't think people understand that when you're entering information into the browser, if one of these things is sitting there, it's picking up everything you're entering. That's the information it's stealing, along with whatever else it can manage to get access to on your system.
Yeah. So one we used to use this a long time ago, and it's still being used, which is called a keylogger. I mean, I remember 10, 15 years ago using keyloggers on systems, but everything you type, everything you click on, everything you do is getting logged, and it sends that log somewhere.
Well, and think about Microsoft Recall is sitting there, let's just move on. You and I have talked about that a couple of times. So don't get out the soapbox.
Yeah. So, there's a lot of stuff there. Some of the key logging, and things that are similar to that are actually features. If you think about it, like you turn on your Windows clipboard. I don't know about you. I like the clipboard history because I'm copying and pasting all day long everywhere. Mm-hmm. And so I like to be able to pull the last 3 or 4 things that I have copied. But in some regards, that's information that's being logged somewhere. So like a keylogger, but that's being information logged somewhere that can be exfiltrated. Your clipboard can be exfiltrated. And what information might be in your clipboard? I don't know. Passwords.
Account numbers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever you copy and paste.
Certainly, I'm not the only one that copies and pastes passwords, I'm sure.
Nah.
I don't do that.
Not that I've ever done that. No. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the next threat down is malware. So I don't think we really need to talk about malware. Other than the fact that sometimes it's fileless malware, but it can, obviously disrupt your operations. It can give persistent network access. Most people, I think, understands that part of it.
Well, those of us who've been around a really long time, malware is what we used to originally call a computer virus. That, and
Right.
that's what everybody thinks, all these things, because if you were around, I remember when it was like everybody laughing, the computer's sick, it has a virus. That was funny, the first time or two. And then it was like, holy crap, this is serious stuff. We've got to worry about this,
Well, they started having different things like, it's not technically a virus, it's a Trojan. Or it's not technically a virus or a Trojan, it's a worm. So everybody was like, you know what, let's just call it malware.
Exactly. That's how we got there, folks. That's how we got there.
So that's where we're at. So as we said, healthcare, the malicious scripting, that's the biggest one, 22%. Of the attack base in healthcare is through the malicious scripting.
Yeah.
Not to be outdone by education, but it is important to note that the number 3 industry that falls for malicious scripting as a top vector is technology.
Yeah.
So right behind healthcare.
So no matter how you look at it, these are things that you need to understand are a problem you should worry about. How do you prevent them from doing damage? And if they manage to get past your prevention, how do you respond to the situation? And that's what you have to prepare for. Well, actually, there's one in between there. How do I prevent it? And if it gets past that, how do I know it got past it so that I can respond before the bomb goes off? The boom. I want to stay left of boom, please. Not go right of boom. And that's a big part of why you need to know how these things are happening. So what other concerns are hitting us in these attacks, threats?
So one that's particularly a problem within healthcare is the Java-based exploits. And this also kind of goes into remote access Trojans as well, which we often call rats. So, but Java-based, Java stuff, period, we haven't used, we being people that are up in 2025, we don't use Java anymore.
Yeah.
So we got rid of that a while back because of the fact that it was exploited so much and there was issues with it. But guess what? A lot of medical systems still use and run on Java.
Well, and you've got Java the platform, Java the programming language, and JavaScript, and all of them are slightly different concerns.
Right.
So, yes.
So this is just a dependency that a lot of these systems have, that's things that, just haven't been upgraded for a long time. and they're still open.
Yeah, they're
The
utilizing
remote access
if
stuff.
it ain't broke, don't fix it theory, and not
Mm-hmm.
acknowledging that having exploits is broke.
Well, not just that, but we've had software where the vendor's like, you can't upgrade it past version 17. I'm like, but we're on version 30. Why are we not able to update this? Well, if you update it past 17, it'll break. I'm like, well, then fix that.
I know, right?
So like, we can't. We have to rewrite the whole whatever. All right. The next one, which is interesting, the next one is called hands-on keyboard intrusions. So this is the human-driven phase of the breach. It's where, and interestingly enough, it's 38% of the hacker's time is spent here. So that's a good bit. It's the time that they use to map out the networks, the domains. They're looking at how everything's connected and talking to each other. They're mapping out the entire landscape. What version of operating system are you using? How many computers do you have? The servers. You know, it's everything. It's like your digital reconnaissance that's happening during this phase.
If they get to know your network better than most people do, know their own network.
Well, if you think about it, this is the exact same thing that your MSP does when they come in and onboard you. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing. We're trying to figure out what's there. What are you running? What's hiding in the closets? What versions of everything do you have? What vulnerabilities do you have? What is not patched? Where's your files? Where's your folders? Where's your databases? What accounts do you have? What permissions are set up? All those things we're trying to figure out so that we can protect you. Well, guess what? The bad guys are trying to figure out too.
Yeah. And it's the same approach. Is they're trying to find what they can take advantage of. You're trying to find what they can take advantage of.
Exactly.
Just for different reasons. So it's the same kind of thing. And so they call, that's what they call that's when they're actually actively attacking it by a person that has infiltrated your computers, right? That's what you're saying. So not the automated scripts, and they call it hands-on keyboard intrusions. So hawk.
Yes.
Hockey. Anyway, we're
so
you got a hawk
if we
one.
can find if we can find another acronym that's loogie, then we can hawk a loogie.
I was waiting for it.
We'll come up with something.
Yeah.
So the other thing the report points out, and this is not new, but ransomware is not just about encryption. They are stealing your data and they are using double extortion schemes. It doesn't mention it here, but we've talked about it before about how they're also calling the victims. They're calling your patients and your customers like, hey, guess what? ABC Medical Clinic's not paying up. So we're going to get you to pay up a smaller amount just so we can not release your information, but we're going to release everybody else's.
Well, and this is another area where AI really helps them because they can create a voice that is saying what they would have never been able to say if they're not speaking English or whatever language they detect you're using on your computer, because they can detect what language you use. And then have AI, they just write a script in their language and say, okay, translate this to this language and create a voice saying these things. Now make a phone call.
Yeah. Yep.
Totally doable.
So I love the key takeaway here. Encryption may lock you out, but exfiltration locks you into reputational damage and HIPAA violations and legal fallout.
It sure does.
Yeah. So let's hit a quick list here. We're going to go over what your IT and MSP should be doing. And if you don't have them, then this is what you should be doing to kind of combat these things. And then we're going to also talk a little bit about the healthcare leaders and just some questions you should be asking. So let's dive into the IT MSP role. Some of the things you should be doing. So obviously we talked about it before. You should be monitoring script behavior, not just file signatures. So what are you using to monitor that and to make sure that the scripts that are running are not malicious?
So what's the difference between monitoring script behavior and file signatures?
So your file signatures often are I call them stable. In other words, the signature has been verified. It's like, this is what the file is. We know it's safe. It's already been vetted. That signature does not change. If the signature changes, it's not the same file.
Correct. I agree. So a lot of these other security programs in the past, all they had to do was have a list of what the correct files were that were safe. And as long as it was a safe file, then everything was fine and dandy. We can't do that anymore. I mean, you still need to, because if it's not, then you need to do something. But you can't stop there. You've got to actually watch what it's doing, because they're finding ways to get bad code into good files.
Yes. Yeah. Like for us, if a client tries to install a piece of software, we have to approve it or deny it. And we do that based on the signature. So the software reports to us, and we have what they call it, human in the loop. That's the new term. We use the human in the loop. So in other words, we're looking at it, we're putting eyes on it, and we're like, okay, cool. The email, or not the email, but the file signature matches. It's good. And we can approve it. And now we approved it, and then it starts installing. At that point, we have other security that says, let's watch the behavior and let's see what happens. And let's make sure that if there are any behaviors that we're not expecting, that we lock this thing down. That's when the human is no longer there doing it. It's now automation, AI, and other things that's taking over.
So it watches what the script does and doesn't assume that it will behave as it is supposed to. It makes sure that it does.
Right. And honestly, the reason why you don't want a human doing all that is because we are too slow.
Yeah.
Because if a script is running, the script will outmaneuver you in speed. And so we need speed of automation and AI to be faster than the automation of the script.
Yes. Okay.
All right. Number 2, IT, you need to figure out how to proactively manage patching and asset inventory. And this is especially true of legacy systems and unmonitored endpoints, which could be anything from a vacuum cleaner, for refrigerator,
soda machine.
Anything that's connecting to the network. You need to figure out, how are you going to inventory that asset, and can it be patched? And if so, how are you managing that patching? And this is where it gets into things where most MSPs are going to tell you, we manage these things and we patch these things. This other stuff we don't. We don't do it. It's not our responsibility. That's for you to figure out. I'm not patching your Roomba.
But it is true. I mean, we also have, the medical devices, the MRIs and all these. You're not touching those. You're probably not touching some big copier, or, that, when you have a lot of the medical records, and we still have to have fax and, a whole litany of things are on that network that you may not be managing. And the other piece is, you go into some networks and like one company is managing the network infrastructure and another company is managing all the computers and servers. That's not uncommon now. But if you just go to one, what's going to happen? It's like, I did this in our inventory worksheets. I split out computers and servers from infrastructure, network infrastructure. And people are like, why'd you do that? Why can't we put it on one? Because when we said include network infrastructure, people would skip it. They would forget about their access points and their, edge devices and switches and all these other things. They'd forget completely about them because they get caught up in all of the computers. So now we have, what's your infrastructure? It's a separate one, because after you do all the computers, you go over and look and you go, oh yeah, we have to, how do we run all of those? So they talk to each other. So there you go.
All right. So the next one, make sure you're deploying EDR or ITDR. And so the ITDR, this is the relatively new one, is identity threat detection and response. So it's looking at your identity stuff, not your endpoint. So EDR is your endpoint detection and response. All these terms basically goes back into the fact that if you let's talk about the antivirus of old. So used to there was antivirus, and now we're doing anti-malware as a service. Then the next stage up from that is endpoint detection and response. So we add on the fact that we're detecting and responding to things that are happening. And then you have, go ahead and throw it out there. Then you have MDR, which is managed detection and response. So the only difference there is you've got systems and eyeballs that are constantly monitoring and managing those things. So that's what we're providing. We're providing MDR. If you're just installing something and it's running and nobody's looking at it, then at best you have EDR.
Right. And you hope somebody will at some point notice. Yeah.
Yes. So anyway, make sure those are detecting malicious persistent techniques in real time with automated responses. And this goes back to what I said a few minutes ago. You want it automated because you can't say, oh, something looks kind of weird. I think it might be a malicious, thing. Let's put a ticket in and wait 45 minutes for somebody to look at it.
Or wait until Monday and it's
Right.
Friday, Saturday or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We had one a couple weeks ago, it was on a Sunday, and it was one of these things where the system said, hey, there was a new email rule created. This is a Sunday, like 3:00. And I'm like, there's nobody, I'm pretty sure nobody's working at that place. Sunday at 3:00. And again, not a problem that somebody's creating rules in their email program, but something just looked, out of sorts. Why on a Sunday?
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of those times where the systems looks at the behavior and says nothing's wrong with it because the rule wasn't anything that would flag, but it was a totality of other things that the human in the middle, the human in the loop
Right.
says, wait a minute, oh, they don't look right.
Yeah.
So we reached out to their internal IT team, and sure enough, it was somebody that had breached that email account. Luckily it was, an employee who had access to nothing, but still.
Well, but I mean, it's because somebody tied all the pieces of information together and said, it's Sunday afternoon and a rule is being created. Even though a rule can be created and it could be created on Sunday, it's not normal. It's an anomaly. And that's what you have to look at. You can't just go, oh, I'm sure it's fine.
Yep. And this also was somebody who was like, we don't have time for no stinking MFA. But guess what they have today?
Stinking MFA.
They sure do. All right. The next one, implementing network segmentation. And this just helps to contain the breach before it spreads. So we want to have as few systems talking to other systems as possible. It's very similar to the fact that you don't want people and staff to access medical records that they don't need to be accessing, just like you don't need systems to talk to systems that shouldn't be accessing.
Right. And in the simplest, and this is way oversimplification, but a lot of people understand that networks have firewalls and all this kind of stuff. And so basically it's grouping your computers and putting firewalls in between them and controlling what they can do with each other. That's what segmentation is.
Yep.
And you need to know what that is, even if you're on a small network in a very small practice environment. You need to understand segmentation.
Absolutely. I mean, I've got 4 network segments in my home.
Me too.
I should not have a better network than a medical office.
Yeah. Well, I even have a 5th one that's kind of like, hidden over there in case you need it. It's for crisis moments only, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think I named it Infected.
Yeah.
But yes, that's why you do this, so that you can control what machines can talk to other machines across the networks. So very important.
All right. So the last 3 here that you need to think about, number 1 is, which is actually number 5 on our list, train your end users. We talk about that constantly.
Right.
Number 6, deploy advanced email security.
Yes.
I recommend not just having the email security that comes with Microsoft or Google, which are, they're decent, but There's a lot of stuff that gets by that if that's all you have. So you need to have advanced email security in place that catches things that the basic email security is not going to catch. If 90% of your problems and your threats come through email, it makes the most sense to put most of your focus there. Like let's really have great email security. And then the last one is DNS filtering. So, and I'd say advanced DNS filtering, which most places don't do any DNS filtering unless you're paying an extra service for that. And what this allows us to do is it allows us to look at every site that every device is going to. And then we can say, don't allow anybody to access either this site or a category of sites. Like maybe we don't want anybody to access any social media. And so we can block all that. And we're not blocking it from the computer level. We're blocking it from the entire network level.
Yes. Proceed.
Yeah. Well, this also helps when you talk about DNS filtering. We talk about the shadow AI problem. Mm-hmm. This helps with that because then you can go in and say, don't allow access to ChatGPT, don't allow access to Claude, don't allow access to Gemini or whatever the things you want to block. And then you can block those things. Or at the very least, you can get a list of our log of what people are going to and what they're doing. And then you can say, oh, well, we didn't actually realize that people were using this AI thing, but here it is on the list of sites that people are visiting.
Yeah, and that's a great way to find them too. And you can say, for example, don't allow traffic to those on Sundays. Hello.
Yeah, you can.
You know.
And, I probably shouldn't say this, but you can also say, only allow this computer to get to that.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, but there's some other things in email security that you should be, and it's weird terms because it is, but in the background, it's in that DNS zone setup for things that are called like DKIM and DMARC, and it's codes that help the infrastructure of email, we'll call it, understand whether or not you really are you, so that it helps with some of the spoofing and stuff. But there's only so much you can do to control that.
Yep. All right. So what about healthcare leaders? What kind of questions should they be asking? So grab a pen and paper. Here we go. Number one, how do we detect and respond to malicious script executions? That's the question you should be asking.
Or
number two,
or you should put it into an AI and say, explain this to me in English.
Well, these are questions you should ask your IT provider, IT team, whoever's,
and tell them to explain it to you in English.
Yeah. Good luck with that one. That's why we're trying to do it here on the show. All right. Number two, do we have visibility into Java or other outdated components in our environment? Number three, when was our last incident response plan test? That'll be an interesting one.
Yes.
Number four, when was our last accurate and thorough security risk assessment? That'll be an interesting answer. And the last one, how are we protecting against data theft, like info stealers, not just ransomware encryption? Ooh.
Hello.
If you hear anything like an answer, if it's something similar to, don't worry about it, we got it covered, everything's fine, probably should worry.
Well, and there's so many who'll say, well, that'll just never happen here. And you can't, that's overconfidence. And I don't care what if you're really good at what you do, great. And you can have that confidence that it shouldn't happen. But to have the belief that it will never happen is a major concern for anyone that does any kind of security. People that do security should always think, it's like the quote that I read, and I've never forgotten. It's cybersecurity. How's cybersecurity going? And the CISO says, it's going really well, but everything's at dire. It's going great, but at any minute it could be horrible,
Oh, absolutely.
And that's what you're looking for. You want security people that have that attitude. We've got it covered, but at any minute it could all fall apart because somewhere I'm afraid I've missed something. That overconfidence means you're not even looking to see if you missed something.
Right. Yep. So ask questions, dig deeper, and I'll give you this anecdotal story. Friday, I had somebody who's not a client sent me their last insurance form for cyber liability they filled out, and it asked a bunch of questions. It's kind of like a little short security assessment. It's just a questionnaire though. So you got to tell the truth.
Yeah.
And I'm looking through this thing and I know enough about this organization to know how they should answer most of those. And the number of wrong answers on that sheet was astounding. And it's not because I think they're trying to be dishonest. I think they just don't understand what they're actually asking and how they're answering it. They don't understand it.
That's probably. So what'd you do?
I said, we need to have a talk. We need to have a talk because a lot of the stuff you got on here is absolutely inaccurate.
Yeah.
And
we need a heart to heart.
Yeah. And that's the problem. That's why we say you should dig deeper. And if somebody says we have it covered, then say, great, prove it to me. Or if you say, how do we detect and respond to malicious script execution? And somebody goes, we do blah, 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 blah. Great. Can you show me? What can you give me that is documented proof that we're doing what we're saying we're doing? That's it. You're not challenging them to a duel. You're just saying, I just need proof that we're doing what we're saying we're doing.
How can I prove that? Because you need that anyway. And that's a big thing. You can have a policy, but if you can't prove that it's actually happening, all you have is some paperwork. You need proof that these actions are taking place and that if there is alerts, someone's looking, and dealing with it. So yes, you should be able to ask for proof. And
should be.
Yeah. If you're not getting that kind of response, then you got a lot more questions you need to be asking. That's all I'm saying.
Yep. So we'll end here the TLDR, which I don't know. Aren't you supposed to say that at the beginning?
Yeah, kind of.
But the TLDR really is, stay vigilant and resilient because cyber threats, they're not going to stop. And they're not going to stop evolving.
Right.
And if your cybersecurity is not evolving along with it, hopefully ahead of it, then you're behind. If you're still doing the same thing you were doing a year ago, you're behind.
Yeah.
And next year, you're going to be even more behind. You've got to continue to evolve because threats are evolving.
Yeah. I mean, I know you and I, and you're doing it for your clients. I'm doing it worried about my own, data, my own business. I'm constantly trying to figure out what do I need to change? Where do we have things? And, I'm like, hey, I'm looking at doing this. And you're like, oh, we can do it this way. And you find some new tool and you'll send it over to me. So it is a regular process, even though that's not what I do for a living anymore.
Yeah.
I'm
I'll tell you too,
worried.
This is just me. I'm going to say this comment, and other MSPs may feel the same, may not. I don't know. But for me, I know that every year I have to go to my clients and say, here's a list of things that we were doing that we're not going to be doing anymore. And here's a list of things that we're now doing that we weren't doing. And we're typically adding more than we're getting rid of because that's just the nature of it. We're evolving our security to make sure that we address the evolving threats. I hate having the conversation of this is going to cost a little bit more to do that. I can't stand it because I don't want my clients to feel like every year is just a price increase and every year is all these new tools. And I think we're doing more than we should be doing now as it is. And now it costs so much money to protect ourselves. Surely somebody can do it cheaper. And you will find somebody who will do something cheaper, but they will not do this cheaper.
Exactly. And that's the problem is there's this assumption. If you have people so you have a tool and the tool alerts and the person that's actually looking at the alert is a level 1 support person, probably because the tools handled everything that's level 1. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So you got to have good people there to respond appropriately. And that's not cheap. Not in the world we live in. So that's a big piece
because we have a what's called a SOC, a Security Operations Center. We have cybersecurity analysts who put eyes on things, and we pay for that level of service and support so that we can give that to our clients. So yeah. And trust me, nobody's making money hand over fist.
No. No, there are not huge margins in any of our businesses. It never has been in mine. And I think that was a long time ago in most of what we do. Anybody does.
I came to the determination that even if my clients don't want to sleep good at night, I do.
Yeah.
So I have to put things in place that I feel confident in and comfortable with, saying, I'm protecting you as if your business was mine.
Well, you care more about it than they do is often a problem, but also is, if you weren't doing this and they're counting on you to do this, that's the thing, is that you don't want to fail for your client because they're counting on you. And it's the same stuff over and over and over that you have to worry about. And they're getting better, so we have to get better.
Yep, that is correct.
There you have it.
All right. That is our show for today, folks. Thanks for listening. Hope you learned something. If nothing else, we scared the bejeebies out of you, as we often do. So, join us again next week. Remember to share this out. We appreciate it. Remember, for Donna and myself, that HIPAA is not about compliance. It's about patient care.
You've been listening to the Help Me With HIPAA podcast, hosted by Donna Grindle and David Sims. The show created to help you with HIPAA. For more information or to ask us a question, visit our website at helpmewithhipaa.com. Neither Donna Grindle or David Sims are attorneys, and they do not offer binding legal advice concerning regulatory compliance. The information in this podcast should not be relied upon or construed as legal advice in any way. Consult your attorney for legal advice concerning compliance with HIPAA regulations.